name is Jonathan, and today me and my team members will be talking about globalization and cultural convergence. They will also be visiting the advantages and disadvantages that they bring. I'll pass you on to Mizanur to begin.
My name is Mizanur, and today I'll be going over the term globalization. This term was introduced by Theodore Levitt, who was born in Germany and then migrated with his family to the States, where he grew up and studied, but his studies had to stop due to the war going on and him joining and helping out the States. But once that was done, he carried on his studies and gained his PhD. Once his study ended, he joined the academic at the Harvard Business School, where he was there for 30 years. But once that he ended he started he defines the globalization as the world becoming more interconnected and as a result of massive trade and cultural exchange. This means that more and more cultures are meeting each other. The term globalization can be defined as the world becoming more interconnected as a result of massive increase in trading and cultural convergence. This is something that my teammate Salik will talk about later on in the video. I believe this is helping developing countries to exceed at what they're doing, as more developed countries are investing money to create buildings, factories, so they can manufacture their product over there. Also, this helps such as strategies like in the 2004 tsunami, where the whole entire world came together to help them and send resources and human resources to help out the country to get over this tragedy. This shows how people are coming together to help out other countries. Not only governments send through there to help out, but people volunteered themselves to go and help. To Levitt, his concept is that businesses are becoming more globalized as thanks to technologies and social behavior. And for example, companies like McDonald's and Coca-Cola are able to sell the same product worldwide.
My name is Salik, and I'll be discussing cultural convergence. Cultural convergence occurs when multiple cultures become more like one another through exposure to traditions, ideals, and languages. Whether it is obvious or not, cultural convergence is happening as we speak. The Western society is becoming dominant and can influence the rest of the society. A company such as Starbucks, which is only a label, but people will pay much more for this brand of beverage, due to the fact that it is society that has labelled this fashionable and cool. Starbucks originated from Seattle in America in the year of 1971. Down the timeline, they have eventually opened their first coffee house in Japan in 1996. They have only been in the United Kingdom for just under 2 decades and are now one of the top 3 coffee companies. In my opinion, cultural convergence is a negative, as there are always problems such as communication, resistance to change, and brings difference of opinions and stereotyping.
Hi, my name is Rico, and I strongly believe that cultural convergence is a positive thing. Firstly, it allows us to get products cheaper. An example of this is Apple. Apple are able to sell their products cheaper than they would have to if they made them in the States. Also, labour is cheaper in China, so by being in a union with a country where the labour is cheap, they are able to offer their prices at a lower rate. Also, this leads on to another positive, which is good relationships with countries.
Hi, my name is Alicia. Rico, contrary to your point, this can also be seen as a negative. If work was carried out in the States, it would mean more work for the residents, which would lead to lower unemployment rates. As of January 2017, the unemployment rate currently is 4.8%. There could be a massive decrease in the unemployment rate if companies such as Apple had their labour carried out in the same countries. Also, by using other countries, it means that they are taking advantage of them, seeing as that they are less developed and need the finances they acquire from having these relations with these first world countries. In reply to your cheaper items theory, the question is at what price? In 2013, there was a massive shock when a Primark sweatshop collapsed due to the poor working conditions. This led to a death toll of a massive 1,400. So we really do have to ask, at what expense are cheaper items worth the lives of the underprivileged?
It's not only the Western society that influence us. There is a strong influence on the Western society from the Asian region, mostly which is food. In the 1950s and early 60s, in England there was only fish and chip shops. But now, most cities and towns have a variety of takeaways, from Asian to Indian to Spanish to Mexican. Most fish and chip shops are run by Asians nowadays, or people who are not of British origin, which shows how well they have integrated. The menu of a fish and chip shop is not just fish and chips now, there's over 100 things you can choose from.
However, Rico, this gives us an insight to loss of tradition and the lack of originality. I personally don't believe there's anything wrong with embracing other cultures. However, things sometimes don't come with a shipping label, so people forget where they've come from. For example, we have things like bubble tea, which originated from the streets of Taiwan in 1980. The problem is they don't know the history behind it, and they just assume that the Western society created these out of thin air. Hence, the loss of tradition and originality.
Yes, but cultural convergence means more diversity, which means more backgrounds and more potential trends that could benefit us. And also, this means less room for victims of racism and more understanding of other people's cultures.
Then we come across the issue of cultural appropriation and misappropriation. This can become an issue. Cultural appropriation and misappropriation is the issue of people adopting other people's cultures, and it may be perceived as harmful, disrespectful, or controversial.
Personally, I believe that cultural convergence is good for the world, as long as the world is ready to adapt off each other to better ourselves as mankind. So there you have it, the difference between cultural convergence and globalization, what advantages they hold and what disadvantages they hold. Globalization is a term which can be explained as the process by which businesses or other organizations develop international influence or start operating on an international scale. Cultural convergence is a result of globalization. It occurs when multiple cultures become more like one another, their exposure to traditions, ideals, and languages. Again, their traditions, ideals, and languages will be taken around the globe through globalization. However, you can also get extreme cases of cultural convergence. One case would be how it could lead to everyone being the same in terms of culture, and so it could lead to everyone sharing a religion. But with that, you would get questions arising such as, where would our originality go? Would it exist anymore? Or where would our traditions go, and how would they change? You could also argue that cultural convergence can lead to conflict between different cultures while converging. And you could also argue that some hate crimes and racism can be a result as people not accepting cultural convergence. Thank you for listening to our presentation.